Hello, guys. Today I will watch Manhwa recap. Yes, I don't watch Manhwa before, so it's be very interesting. I hope. Yeah, so give me your like, give me your comment, give me your subscription, and we get started.
The story begins in a world where a lonely guy with a lot of injuries during a clash with a huge army looks somewhere with a blank look. Immediately, he recalls the words of the girl, "I told you, no. You should not look into the void when there are people around." And, looking ahead at the military, he apologizes to her emerging image. The army starts attacking the young man again, but with one blow, he activates a mysterious force that causes great destruction and destroys everything around him. And now his story will begin to tell. One day he was a fish swimming in a lake, another time a bird flying through the sky, and other days he was a small ant walking in a group, or a big dinosaur, from the heat of a volcanic eruption to the blossoming of flowers. He
Interesting.
lived and died thousands of times as different beings, remembering all his past lives. At some point,
It's
having
his
already
past
lived
lives.
many different lives, he reincarnated as an elephant, but at some point in his life a
wow.
hunter mortally wounded him, and when his life fades away, he mentally says, "Again, I was caught again." Millions of years of memories. And the only creatures he has hostility towards are humans. Every time I reached the end of my life, being killed and consumed by a stronger being was a
shit,
fact.
humans.
It was the natural way things worked,
Fucking
and I was
humans.
fine with that. However, these beings take the lives of others for pleasure or fun. The methods they use are countless and are constantly being improved, which makes countermeasures irrelevant. In thousands of my lives I have been killed by them. Although death meant nothing to me, I still felt hatred for them. Death is approaching, millions of years of life. Every
He's
time
so
I come to
tired.
doors of death, I have these questions. What kind of being am I going to be reborn this time? Why do I have the ability to be reborn, and when will it all end? Please, I don't want to be reborn again, even with a great
He
desire
remember
to end
our
the endless
lives,
cycle.
he-
When a new
okay.
rebirth begins, he says. And now my new life begins again. The pain during birth was unbearable. Because of this pain, I am sure that this time I am a mammal. He has never felt anything like this. This pain makes me to enjoy this life, according to my past experience. The more pain, the more likely to be at the top of the food chain. And at that moment he
Top of
returns
the
to
food
life,
chain.
opens his eyes in the arms of his new mother and mentally says, watching her, "They asked me, how much time has passed in this life?" Although my vision was blurry, I could immediately distinguish it. The only beings that I have hostility
Wow, I
towards,
like it.
I was
I like
reborn
it.
as a human. This little
For
young
this
man
moment,
was
I
named
like.
La Ya and by his mother named Oh Yoon Shil. Time is running out, and at a young age, his mother took Ya into the hospital. He, having lived millions of lives, thought that for the first time he had a name and that
Millions
people's
of
lives are
lives?
difficult. Although they are all alive, they distinguish between countries and races. In addition, they give names to everything in the world and give everything a meaning. The doctor his mother went to says that all the tests they did were normal, but she, a little confused, asks why her son does not speak. He tries to explain to her that
He
he is
don't
only
speak?
6 years old, which may be too early for him. The mother, unsatisfied with the explanation, gets angry and tells the doctor that this is not the problem. Even if she tried to talk to him, he hardly reacts. He didn't even cry when he was born. The doctor, seeing that he doesn't have any physical problems, raises the possibility that it's something psychological and suggests taking him to a psychiatrist. Yoon Shil, hearing this, gets up from his seat and says, "Psychiatrist? That insane asylum. Are you trying to say that my son is crazy?" The doctor tries to keep the woman, and Jia Ying says that his mother is an idiot and ignorant. She lost her family in the war, and soon after that she lost her husband in another war. The world was too harsh and cruel for her, but she has something worth life to survive. She put me on her back and sold vegetables at the local market. Time passed, and when the evening came, Yoon Shil was resting with her son. One day she heard that children grow up listening to what people say, so despite the lack of reaction, Yoon Shil constantly told her son, "I love you." Jia Ying did not understand what she was saying, but this warm feeling did not disgust him. However, he confirmed that there is an obvious difference in this life. At the same time, near the house they are in, a group of officers are chasing a man. In the end they catch him. He asks to be left alive, but one of these officers taunts him, "What did you say? How can I let a communist live?" The desperate man denies his words, but the officer doesn't care about him or what he says. Just then, Jia Ying appears on top of the pillar, drawing the group's attention. They are very confused. Jia Ying decides that this is a good chance to test his abilities. He approaches the men at great speed using the skills of a leopard. And before striking, he uses the power of an Argentinosaurus, knocking down one of the officers
I
with a powerful
understand
attack.
now.
Terrified, his men yell at him, asking
Wow.
who the hell he is.
Nice,
Jia Ying
nice
looks at
story.
indifferently, smiling, mentally confirming his guesses. "I was born with the skills of all the creatures that I once was." He is puzzled by this, but he is sure of one thing: this is the end of my path. This is my last life, and finally I can die. One of the men
Last
rushes at
life?
him and beats him. Xia Ying is not surprised by the pain. Without abilities, I am an ordinary person. However, as long as I use my skills, I can be anyone. The officer strikes again. However, Yan uses the turtle and chimpanzee skills in preparation to stop his life. However, at the same moment, Ian is shot by a man who is being chased, and falling to the floor, he realizes that he made a mistake. As a result, they leave the place in fear. Time passes, wounded, but Yan, who regained consciousness, understands that this happened to him again. Again the person hurt him. And, looking at the sunrise, he is about to take his last breath. However, his self-preservation instinct unconsciously activates the sea cucumber skill and regenerates the wound. This amused him a little. I thought that nothing could surprise me anymore, but it was amusing. It amazes me that there can be so much power in such a small body. At this moment, in the distance, he hears the screams of his mother, who desperately continues to call his name. Ignoring her, he approaches the bird with great speed and devours it, reasoning, maybe I can't be called fully grown yet, but I can hunt myself. I have no reason to stay with her. At this moment, he remembers the words spoken to him by his mother, and he has doubts, but despite this, he leaves his home. Time passes, and after a while, Yang Ying is in a terrible state. Only later realizing that he was ill, I was struck by fever and hunger. Is there something wrong with the food? I thought I was omnivorous. What's the matter? In millions of lives, I have never had this feeling before. Death. I don't regret anything. Is this really the end? However, just at that moment, Yun Shil finds him, unable to contain her emotions, bursting into tears and hugging him with great love. Xia Ying understands. I thought I was dying, but suddenly I came to my senses. I want to eat the food prepared by this woman. His mother is crying and Xia Ying tried her, deciding to speak human words that he did not understand. He said the same words that Yun Shil always said to him with a smile, I love you, but his mother cried even harder. Xia Ying thought while looking at the beautiful sunset, which was really beautiful that day, he realized that he wanted to stay like this for a little while until he could become independent. And he would also try to lead a human life. They both returned home together and returned to their lives. At the same time, the man who shot Xia Ying tells the police what happened, claiming that he killed the boy. But the officer who interrogates him does not believe this story, emphasizing that the only body that was at the scene belonged to an officer. The man being chased asks the officer who was strangled by the boy why he doesn't say anything. After all, he saw what happened, and that he shot the boy to save him, but the officer coldly says, do you really believe the words of this communist? Why are you taking it seriously? Untired. Just end the conversation and take care of him. The man, seeing that no one is supporting him, begins to cry, screaming to be released, that the detective was killed by this child and that he shot this monster. Some time has passed. From that day on, Yun Shil always held her son's hand in fear of losing him again. Xia Ying claimed he didn't hate her because of his mother's smile and because of what she did for him, and therefore he sensed danger. Both lived their lives together. Xia Ying went to school, and some of the children had already molested him, but his mother protected him, scolding the teacher, who thought fighting was normal at that age, and threatening the children that if they dared to lay a hand on her son again, she would rip their hands off. Xia Ying, looking at this scene, realized that his mother was only kind to him. Also seeing that the elderly ladies in the neighborhood began to speak badly of her son because he did not speak and because of the blank look, Yun Shil immediately started a conflict. Later, an administrative officer tried to evict her from where she sold vegetables due to the administrative issues of the country. Yun Shil, on the other hand, claimed that this country did nothing for them. Her father was shot and she became an orphan. Her husband died in the same way and she became a widow. And now they want to take her place. And, falling to the floor, she continues to say, if you drive us out, we have died of hunger. I'm not going anywhere. At least kill. If you don't plan on killing me, then leave. Yun Shil constantly struggled with the world. And as time went on, Xia Ying got used to the human body and lifestyle. One day in the flower field, his mother held out her hand and suggested that they go and eat at home. Taking the warm but strong hand of their mother, they went. Xia Ying thought it was time to leave. He asked her, why fight? To which his mother replied, don't worry, I'll protect you. Hearing these words, he realized that what he feared had happened. I don't want to leave. I want to spend more time with Yun Shil. As they happily continued on their way, behind them stood an officer who had been wounded by a young man. He's glad he found the monster. Jane has always thought about the survival of the fittest, about the fact that the weak become the food of the strong. This applies to any creature in this world. As soon as you become part of this circle, everyone understands this instantly. However, there are deaths of which he is not justified. Someone's death helps to overcome the heat, survive the cold, science to learn new things. But sometimes death becomes an ornament, an entertainment. This is depressing. It has been 12 years since Yan was born. He collects food from the stream. He says he is used to human society, but in recent years his area has changed rapidly. The roads are straight and the buildings are taller. They even built a factory next to the stream. Yun Shil got sick.
Oh.
We are shown a flashback where a few days ago Jia Ying, while they were eating, instinctively spit out food while his mother was trying to feed him. But Jia Ying refused. In the end, Yun Shil ate everything herself. Returning to the present, he regrets that he did not interfere with her. He understood that it was contaminated with factory waste. He ends up leaving home on the pretext of going to school. His mother told him to have fun, but Jia Ying actually went to sell food at the market and watching the goods. He mentally says, people destroy everything for their own comfort, and the comfort of one leads one to the suffering of another. But he doesn't understand why Yun Shil has to suffer. At that moment, a man appears in front of him, takes an apple and bites into it, asking the price. The boy tells him the price is 10 won. The man is indignant because it is quite expensive, although quite tasty. Jia Ying realizes that this is the officer who escaped from him alive. I think about the situation, he argues. All people are different. Society began to invent laws to maintain order, and he's already committed a crime. Murder, sitting in front of Jia Ying. The officer says something, I planned to come earlier, but I enjoyed watching you. I wanted to see how the monster grows during the conversation. He asks for the answer to one question, why are you pretending to be a man? Jia Ying doesn't give him an answer. The officer orders his men to take him away, but Jia Ying does not resist at all. The man is surprised and seeing that the young man is not embarrassed. And smiling slyly, he says to him, you explode in espionage, then your mother will not be well. We have already sent people to her. He teases Jia Ying, wondering if she will survive the investigation, because the measures will be very cruel. This changes something in Jia Ying. And the man, seeing this, tells his two men to move away, otherwise they will die. And at that very moment, the entire floor under them begins to collapse. The young man rips off the handcuffs and rushes to the house at full speed. All the people under the command of the officer ask him what happened. He answers them that this boy is a monster. Jia Ying, hurrying home, recalls the words of one officer. The person who called me a monster definitely underestimated me. I can be anyone. And on that day, Jia Ying became a disaster. At the same time, one of the officer's colleagues who witnessed Jia Ying's powers for the first time is interrogated about why he did not try to stop his colleague after he mobilized so many people to capture the alleged 12-year-old spy boy using his influence. The man replies that it was because he was afraid. The next moment, we see Jia Ying running home. He is seen by a group of men who have come to arrest his mother and are surprised by his appearance. After Jia Ying confirmed that he is the same boy who lives in the house, the men are unsure about him, but either way, they plan to take him away to investigate. Jia Ying is about to destroy them all, but at that moment his mother comes out of the house, interested in what is happening. But when she sees that they are holding her son despite her terrible condition, she gets up and starts yelling at them to let him go. Seeing that the men are not paying attention to her and that she is surrounded, she starts screaming at the top of her lungs for help, claiming that they are kidnapping her son. The officers at first try to stop her with words, but seeing that she is not listening to them, one of the men hits her in the face and tells her to shut up. Jia Ying witnessed his mother being beaten. He felt a strong, violent rage. At that moment, he completely lost his mind. Everything went dark before his eyes. Seconds later, when he came to, he was standing around the bodies of the officers as his mother looked at him in shock. Seeing her reaction, Jia Ying mentally understands it happened again. At this moment, an officer drives up in a car, laughing, talking about confirming his thoughts. What did I say? I knew he was a monster. Don't spare him, otherwise you'll die like everyone else. Jia Ying realizes that the only option is to kill them, but just before attacking them, Yun Shil stands in front of him, defending his son. It was I who killed them. Pick me up. My child did nothing. It's all my fault. The officers were shocked to see this scene. Jia Ying was greatly surprised when he saw this. His mother, who didn't even have a hard time eating, was screaming at the top of her lungs. At that moment, he remembers his mother's words that she is fighting to protect him. And seeing that she is doing this right now in this difficult situation, he is unable to contain his emotions and begins to cry uncontrollably. The officer, seeing this, pulls out a gun and aims it at Yun Shil's ankle. He shoots the woman without hesitation, but before the bullet touches her, Jia Ying will protect his mother using his skills. The officer is happy, because this is a direct confirmation of his words that this child is a real monster. The man tells them to shoot. At first they resist, but under pressure from the officer, they follow his orders, and they all shoot at Jia Ying. Jia Ying, seeing a large number of bullets in the direction of her mother, decides to cover her with herself. I can do it. I have to do it, and using superhuman reflexes and armadillo skills, he protects his mother from all the bullets. A group of officers are shocked by this situation, but they are ready to start shooting again. Jia Ying is in a critical situation, but he still stands in defense of his mother, preparing to shoot. His mother appears in front of him, who now covers him with bullets herself. She hugs him, says she loves him. Yun Shil takes all the shots and falls to the ground. Jia Ying watches her as his mother strokes his cheek with the last of her strength. He remembers the moments when they were together, and his mom breaks away from him, breathing her last breath. Suddenly, Yun-shil opens her eyes in a white space, not understanding where she is. Nearby, she notices Jae-in crying uncontrollably. She tells him that even at birth he did not cry, and she sincerely does not understand why he is crying right now. Jae-in apologizes to her, saying he doesn't know what to do, wondering why he has these powers. However, his mother interrupts with a hug and says, "It's all right. Everything is good. Son, your birth is the main event in my life." Jae-in replies that he will be with her soon, to which his mother seriously tells him, "No matter what
So
happens
sad.
to you, no matter what you have to do, please lie." At this moment in the real world, Yang, who appreciates his mother's words, stands up in tears. The officer, seeing something incredible coming from Jane, freezes and wonders why this man
Stupid
was so
officer.
obsessed with Jane. There are many answers, but the real answer was simple: pride. People look at the world through the prism of self-perception. They are afraid of the unknown. Why he tried to end it. At the moment of the officer's reasoning, Xiaoying claims that he cannot coexist with people. "I am afraid of hurting or killing another person," but remembering the words of his mother, he says that he will live, and without stopping crying, leaves the body of his mother behind and starts to run. And before moving a long distance, he looks at the officer with a look full of anger. The man is yelling at his men and yelling at his men to start chasing him, emphasizing that he is now weak and this is the last chance to catch him. Xiaoying runs a long distance. Already crossing the flower field where he walked with his mother, he stops. The officer asks him with a sneer why he finished running and if he wants to
Crazy.
continue. Xiaoying, wiping her tears, answers him, "Run. Before, I could not. Otherwise my mother would have suffered. Sorry, the people I killed, all those who died at my hands, like you, must have a mother. Must that everyone has that one person who loves you. And you love him, just like me." The man, who is trying to hide his nervousness, replies that he speaks quite well for a child, and Xiaoying continues, "I understand that I did something wrong, but this also applies to you. You ruthlessly kill, destroy, and spoil everything. I always wondered why I was born again and again. Why am I given these powers? I finally realized. Me and you, miserable little people, I was born to destroy you." Xiaoying unleashes his power, causing his opponents to tremble, and with a powerful leap that he pierces the ground, he launches himself in the direction of all his opponent. They try to dodge him, but they fail and his attack causes great destruction, ending the lives of several officers. An officer who is about to die under a rock looks at the young man and says, "I knew I was right. You should die. Monsters like you shouldn't exist in our world." Xiaoying calmly walks up to him and replies, "Yes, you are right. It would be better if you killed me. However, you didn't succeed. And in return, all the people of the world, every single one, will have to feel my wrath." He then ends the officer's life with one movement. Some time passed. Xiaoying found his mother's body while walking endlessly, possibly from fatigue, but he began to hear Yun-shil's words. Those words that she said to him thousands of times, and remembering their entire life together, he answers her, leaving into the darkness, "I love you." After calming her mind, Xiaoying walks towards the horizon, remembering the happiest moments of her life, saying with great sadness, "The years I spent with my mother seemed like a moment compared to millions of years of
Great
life, but
sadness.
this moment meant everything to me. I experienced a feeling of infinite love, unknown to me before. I felt infinite happiness. However, my mother is no longer around. She died because of me. No death has ever hurt me so much." But remembering his mother's words that he must live, he says aloud that he is all right, and he continues to move forward without any specific goal. The next moment we see a hunter watching his prey. He manages to shoot her and he cheerfully goes to her carcasses. However, Xiaoying stands next to the fallen animal and looks at the killed bird. The hunter, upon seeing him, says to the child, "Child, what are you doing here? It's dangerous in the wild. Is this the first time you see a pheasant?" "Big, right," and answers him, "Are you proud?" However, the man very calmly asks him about where his parents are. These words make a change in Xiaoying, making him calm down. He answers the man that they are dead. The man listens to him and looks sadly, and putting the coat on the child, the man says, "It's winter now. Are you not cold? Why are you wearing such a short jacket? Let's go to my house." Jane's eyes fill with light, seeing the actions of this man, and for this he follows him without protesting. Both walk a little and come to the hunter's house. The hunter's mother stands outside in the cold and the man greets her, announcing his return and tells her to come in. This family gives Xiaoying a warm and friendly welcome. They give him a hot bath to rest his body and remove bad smells since he has not bathed for a long time. Then they all eat soft pheasant meat together. The hunter asks why Xiaoying does not eat anything, at which point a loud roar is heard. The hunter tells him that a building is being built in the mountains nearby, which appears to be some sort of luxury hotel. Changing the subject, the hunter asks him what brought him to the mountain. Xiaoying, starting to eat, replies that he just came. The man, very simply looking at the situation, tells him, "There is nothing here. Mountains are not the best place for a child. Tomorrow I will take you to the village. I'll ask the prefect to find someone to take care of you. You have to go to school. Jia Ying, focused only on food, does not pay much attention to the hunter, for which he lightly and gently touches his head, knocking the young man out of his rut. And the hunter continues to say, smiling, and at school, be sure to learn the rules of behavior with adults. Jia Ying doesn't say a word and just watches him intrigued. Time passes and they all fall asleep together. Jia Ying, awake, watches the ceiling, also looking at several photos of the family, only after that he can fall asleep. The next morning, this family gives Jia Ying new clothes. The man, seeing that the clothes are a little big, rolls up the sleeves and legs to make it more comfortable, and tells his mother that he will return and that they are going to the neighboring village. She only waved her hand. After walking some distance, Jia Ying says to the hunter, your mother is not talkative. The hunter slightly ruffles his hair and, smiling, replies, hey, what kind of kid? Where is your respect? Jia Ying is slightly unpleasant from his actions and he grits his teeth. The man continues, she can't, she's deaf and dumb. To which Jia Ying asks him why he keeps talking to her if she can't hear him. And the hunter replies that even without words, he knows that his feelings reach her.
It's all story,
that's all that matters to him. Jia Ying ponders as he listens. A few minutes later it starts to rain heavily. The hunter, worried that they might get sick, decides to go look for cover. They find shelter, going to take shelter from the rain. However, on top of the mountain next to them, a large landslide occurs in the construction area and ends up crushing the hunter. The man who can barely breathe asks Jia Ying about his condition as he tries to remove the ground from him and tells him to just hold on for a moment. But the hunter weakly says, Mom. Jia Ying contemplates this scene and a second later, looking at the sky, mentally says, there is construction going on the neighboring mountain. How are they talking? Resort. The rain continues as he takes the hunter's body and carries it back home. When he arrives, Jia Ying is unable to look into the shocked mother's eyes. Time passes, and after the storm has passed, Jia Ying, remembering his massacres, mentally says, to be honest, I was angry with them. I still haven't made a decision. Hard. I don't know how it will be better. At this moment, he recalls a situation where his mother tells him about a bad mark on an exam. What is this? Are you trying to be like me? Jia Ying replied that he couldn't work it out because he didn't know. Yan Shil said to her son very seriously, I should have at least tried to decide. And if you really don't know, then you had to learn everything in advance. Jia Ying continued to tell her that he didn't know. Returning to the present, he looked at the sky and resolutely moved in one direction. At another moment, a building under construction is solemnly opened, and many people gather for this occasion. And the one who apparently is the owner notices the approaching child and notifies one of his guards. He is confused by this. He asks him, are there no guards at the entrance? Today is such an important day. Did you miss this? His employee tells him that he will go and get him out right now. The guard quickly runs and intercepts the young man. He explains to Jia Ying that he cannot come to this area and asks him to please leave. But looking back, the young man notices the fallen bodies of many of his colleagues. Yan in front of a man recalls a conversation with his mother about the exam. Even if you don't know what to do, just try. Everyone has the right to make mistakes, and if you really don't know, then do what you think is right. To which with a bloodied fist, he says, now I have no doubt. I kill you all. This is what I really want.
Oh shit. Thank you for watching with me this video, guys. I really appreciate it. Yes, so subscribe for my channel, give me your like, comment, and see you soon. Every day new videos. So